Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We have some big news. The year 7 EZAs are finally coming. We have their details on Twitter right now. We're starting with the SSJ4s, who are my most anticipated EZA from this celebration. So we're hopping straight in. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. So upon the entrance animation, they have 77% damage reduction and a guaranteed additional for 1 turn. That is nice. I know they used to have 1 turn of guard, which they still have, but they've changed it. They used to have 1 turn of guard, but that aged out pretty quickly. That 77% damage reduction is going to go far, especially if you need to put them in slot 1 to start with, because content has been a little bit on the longer side recently. Like, even with Vegito and Gogeta, I'm still hitting like turn 9, maybe turn 10. So I like that a lot. They now start with key +2, 100% attack and defense, and guards for 7 turns. So that means their first turn, they are packed to the brim. They ain't dying, even though they're literally vulnerable and they haven't started stacking. Guard, 77% damage reduction on turn 1. Yeah, they're chilling. And that guaranteed additional to kickstart your stacking, I like that a lot. I really do like that a lot. Basic effects, 200% attack and defense, receives an additional key +2 per type key sphere obtained. And then for every key obtained, they get 10% attack and defense up to 77%. For every rainbow key sphere obtained, 10% chance to crit. Attacking with 17 more or key, guaranteed additional, which, I mean, you're always going to want to be getting 18 key with them, so majority of the time you're probably going to be getting this. So that means on turn 1 you could potentially super attack about 3 times, 4 times with a potential system, and then if you do get 20 or more key, attacks are effective against all types, and then they'll have a guaranteed additional super, which helps out their stacking a hell of a lot. So again, turn 1, you could potentially, if you're lucky enough and get 20 or more key, along with the potential system proccing, you could super attack 5 times. That's 5 stacks on turn 1 alone. They're looking good. We haven't even got to Gogeta yet. And don't forget, this is a unit that, while in like pre-fusion and then fused, they are going to be buffed by Carnival SSJ4 Goku's SA effect support and the support in his passive, along with a 10% damage reduction he also gives as well. On super attack, both 12 key and 18 key seem to be the same. They'll greatly raise attack and defense, which means they're getting a 50% stat every time they super attack, whether it's 18 or 12 key, which I'm a big fan of, because that means you can stack them up quickly. We've seen it with LR Int Nameku. That 50% per super attack, it really does make a huge difference. Then when you fuse into Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, you will have 77% damage reduction for 1 turn again. But then don't forget, you're also coupling that with the fact you've been stacking until you fuse as well. And of course, you're going to have increased stats. So for turn 1, along with everything else Gogeta used to be able to do, you're kind of maybe not looking at 1 turn invincibility, but let's just say he's safe. He's in good hands. 300% attack and defense, 2 key per type key sphere obtained. Attacks are effective against all types. Now has guaranteed guard. Yeah, the first appearance of Gogeta, he's chilling. 77% damage reduction. Wherever you stack them up to and guard, you're chilling. 50% chance to crit, guaranteed additional, and also foresees enemy super attack. And there seems to be no turn limit on it either. That's crazy. Oh, the year 7s are so back. And again, I'm going to say it again. Don't forget, he's going to be supported by Carnival SSJ4 Goku. They're going to link so well together. You can now have that as a rotation. And he's going to be getting an extra 10% damage reduction from him as well. So that 1 turn 77%, nah, that's 87% to go with the gut. Then for 4 turns from the character's entry, randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to rainbow key spheres. For every key sphere obtained, 10% attack and defense up to 100%. For every rainbow key sphere obtained, chance to crit and damage reduction rate, 10%. So don't forget as well, right? If you get 30, 40, or even the full 50% damage reduction from rainbow orbs, from that first turn appearance, that's also going to go on top of the damage reduction rate they have along with the support. So they're going to have way over 100% damage reduction for that one turn on their appearance, by the way. But that's still like 20, 30, 40, 50% damage reduction along with guard and also the 10% Carnival LSSJ4s getting them. And that's a decent amount of damage reduction to have with guard as well. And again, wherever you've managed to stack them till. Then when activating the active skill or when attacking with 24 key, attack plus 50%. When receiving an attack, damage reduction rate 50% within the turn when HP is 50% or less. That's a lot of damage reduction. I'm seeing a lot of damage reduction in their passive. And then when receiving a super attack, they of course have a 70% chance of nullifying it and countering with tremendous power. Also, you can nullify it and counter with tremendous power when facing only one enemy and that enemy's HP is 50% or less. So if that enemy has 50% less HP, then you have a guaranteed nullify. So you have damage reduction, guard, damage reduction and support Carnival LSJ4 is giving you, along with nullifies and counters to go on top of that. I would say Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is pretty tanked out. And I cannot wait to use him with Carnival LSJ4 Goku. SA effect wise on 12 key, we're looking at a 100% attack raise and a 50% defense raise for the turn. And on 18 key, 100% attack and defense for 4 turns. And of course, we'll also disable enemies' action once within a turn as well. That's a lot of attack and defense to get. On top of everything else, that's a lot of attack and defense to get for 4 turns. See, this is how you do a unit that has damage reduction based on orbs picked up. This is the type of love, maybe not as good, but this is the type of love Kaioken Goku should have got. But this also means, right, you can foresee enemy super attack. You can also use Gogeta to disable, potentially, that super attack, but the action. He can also counter it and he can nullify it. What can this man not do? Then we have the Year 7 Gods. At one point or another was considered better than Super Saiyan 4s, even though funny enough, they were the same unit apart from like one minor difference of dodge and damage reduction eventually when they transformed and fused. The only difference being, of course, the gods had Tech God Goku to give him a slot 1 unit. Now how the tables have turned, because now Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is the slot 1 unit. But when you activate the entrance animation, they also get 77% damage reduction, guaranteed additional, key plus 2, 100% attack and defense, and then 7 turns of guard. 200% attack and defense at the start of turn, key plus 2 per type key sphere obtained, then for every key sphere obtained, 10% attack and defense, up to 77%. Then for every rainbow key sphere obtained, chance to crit by 10%, guaranteed additional with 17 or more key, and then with 20 or more key, attacks are effective against all types, guaranteed additional. So just like how they were when they released, pre-transformation, pre-fusion, they're identical. And then once we super attack, are we looking at 50% again? Yep, 50% stacked. That's great. That's amazing, especially the amount you can super attack with them. Then this is where the differences should come in. So when you transform into blue, you'll have the 77% damage reduction for 1 turn, which I think is great. 300% attack and defense. Key plus 2 per type key sphere obtained. Attacks are effective against all types. Guaranteed guard. 50% chance to crit. 30% chance to dodge. So that's where the differences are starting to come in. They have a base 30% chance to dodge. I know that's low, but don't forget, that's also going to go with guard. And that's also going to go with damage reduction they build up per rainbow key sphere as well. So that's going to creep very quickly. They also change int key spheres to rainbow. Then for 4 turns, we'll randomly change key spheres of a certain type to rainbow key spheres. They can get a lot of rainbow orb changing. I like that a lot. Then for every key sphere obtained, 10% attack and defense up to 100%. Then for every rainbow key sphere obtained, they have 10% crit chance and 10% dodge chance. So again, if you are getting enough rainbow key spheres, which with this orb changing and this orb changing here, these two, you're going to get 40-50% a lot on average for 4 turns, which by the time they come out, and then by the time you're getting towards the end of those 4 turns, you're probably going to be done and dusted with the event anyway, or coming to an end. So I like that. Then with 7 or more key spheres obtained, guaranteed additional. When attacking with 20 or more key, guaranteed additional. When activating the active skill or when attacking with 24 key, 50% attack. And then when attacking, performs a guaranteed crit and launches an additional super attack. Jesus Christ, they've got even more. Guaranteed crit when the enemy is at HP 50% or more. And then when receiving an attack, evades enemy's attack guaranteed when HP is 50% or less. Okay. I mean, that's great, and I like that a lot. But let's not forget, Jiren, at least on the Goku side, I'm not sure about Vegeta's side just yet. I still need to do that. But Jiren does disable dodge. So if you are going to bring these, I'm not saying they need to dodge, but I'm just saying if you do want them to dodge, you will have to bring TEQ UI, which is actually not a bad thing. But you will have to do that against Jiren. But yeah, they're looking good. But maybe now it's time for people to look at Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and realize how good he is. How the tables have turned. And then just like Gogeta on 12 key, you got 100% attack and then 50% defense for the turn. And then on 18 key, 100% attack and defense for 4 turns and disables enemy actions once within the turn. Honestly, the year 7s are back. They are looking so good. And Gogeta is looking insane. I think because you kind of have guarantee when it comes with damage reduction, and of course we have that Carnival SSJ4 support just ready and waiting. I feel like now, 3 years later, everyone's going to be like, Gogeta's better than the Blues. Even though they're both very good, that Carnival SSJ4 Goku support honestly just goes a long way. And Gogeta looks ridiculous as is. And we finally also have another slot 1 unit, which I'm very happy about. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I guess everyone is excited because I'm excited. They should be out within the next couple days, so we get to try them out very soon. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a great day, and peace.